I was a 4-time kickboxing world champion. For 12 years, I trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was motivated to train probably about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I went because I am disciplined. You don't feel like going through that shit on a Wednesday morning when you wake up, but you have to do it because you're disciplined. You're either a disciplined individual or you are not a disciplined individual. There's a difference between want and want. And I say this all the time. People say to me, I want to be rich. And I say, okay, well, I want to be able to ice skate. But I don't want to be able to ice skate enough to go learn how to ice skate because I can't be bothered. I mean, surely if I could click my fingers and be a figure skater, I'd click my fingers. Who wouldn't? But I don't want to actually go train because I don't want it enough. And this is the exact point with money. Everyone wants money put on their lap. If you truly wanted money, you wouldn't be able to sleep until you fucking had it.
I think a man should have absolutely no interest in whether he's actually happy or not. If I wake up and I'm unhappy, I will do the exact same things as if I am happy. I will go to the gym the same. I will work the same. How I feel has no impact on how I live my life. I don't think happiness as an index is a healthy view for a man to have on life success. If you're waking up and going, oh, am I happy, am I not? You're looking at life wrong. I think of a man, if you put happiness if you move it down the scale, right? And you start looking at, am I successful? Am I competent? You know, am I achieving things? Am I respected? If you start to look at these indicators of your life, you're gonna end up being happier without actually analyzing if you're happy or not.
If you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game.
Slaves have united.
But this is what's dangerous about the world. This is what people don't understand. And this is what my society discusses always, is that throughout history, the way humanity got here is that it was the biggest, strongest alphas of society that were in charge of society.
Yes.
We now live in a world where it's the beta male tech programmers that rule the world. And if you give a bunch of betas power, they're going to abuse it worse than anybody. Have you ever given a weak man power? You see what they do with it? Because they've never felt powerful. You can give me power. We talk about all the shit I do with women on a serious level, right? If a woman trusts me and she gives me power over her in a relationship, I'm going to take care of her in every single way. I'm not going to fucking abuse her. I've felt powerful my whole life. I kick the shit out of dudes. I'm never going to hit shit. Why would I, right? You give a beta male power, look what they do. Because they've never felt powerful. And men have a natural masculine imperative for power. Everything we discussed earlier. We talked about men want status, right? So you give weak men power, they're going to exploit it. And the weakest members of society are now becoming the most powerful members of society. And they can control fucking information. It's the end of the world. This is the end of the fucking world. This is not a joke. This is the end of the fucking world.
Well, it's the feminization of the world.
Absolutely.
So this is now it's the era of feelings. Everybody's feelings matter. And like you said, the beta male is coming to power. So what's going to happen?
Well,
what do you see
I'll tell
happening?
you, the feminization of the world is absolutely destructive to the Western world because there's never been a successful matriarchy in the history of humanity.
No, not true. What about England?
Queen
Victoria.
Having a female in charge is different than a matriarchy. When I talk about matriarchy, I mean on average in the household, the man was in charge. On average, men were in charge of the society on average. You could have a female head of state, but on average, it was the men who were ruling society. The men were in charge of
working and providing. Women
the women were
house,
listening to the men on average.
Right.
That's my point, on average,
Right.
So I've had this argument with a feminist before. She was like, oh, well, we've never tried matriarchies. We've only tried patriarchies, blah, blah, blah. And I said, listen, bitch. I said, yes, they have been tried. But the problem is this. The problem is this.
Yeah.
The closer you are to the base level of survival, the more people naturally revert to their gender roles. If 10 men and 10 women were on a boat and they got shipwrecked, the men would instantly start shelter, fire, hunting, and the women would start doing the women things. When you get rid of all the crap and all the society and all the programming, people will revert to their gender roles. The reason we do that is because it gives us the best possible chance of survival. That's why in poor countries where survival is harder, people are closer to their natural gender roles.
Totally.
Right? So that makes sense as a whole. So this feminist is saying to me, oh yeah, but we've never tried a matriarchy. I said, no, I'm sure it's been tried. The problem is it's very, very difficult to survive under a matriarchy. It's not the natural gender roles. And the matriarchies that did exist in humanity, I'm sure they existed. The reason we don't discuss them is they never even got a chance to create any history because they were fucking decimated by the patriarchies. There is what is the statistical odds? Someone at home, some feminist, if you can do some fucking math, you bimbo, work this out.
What are the odds of every single society since the dawn of human time all across the planet being run by men? All of them. This is not an idea that could have spread. You had the Aztecs and the Mao dynasty. They didn't fucking talk. This is every single civilization that we could ever possibly name or discover, men were in charge. The reason for that is because all the ones where women were in charge got fucking wiped out because they're not competitive. So what happens is, and they lose to patriarchies. So what's going to happen here as we become feminized, as the Western world becomes a matriarchy, as women get more and more influence and power, feminists are fucking walking down the street saying we want the same rights as men. You have more rights than men. There's not a single thing a man can do a woman can't do, but you have a whole bunch of laws in your favor. Yep. You have more rights than men already. What the fuck you talking about? And then they say they want to be respected for their ideas, and they get their tits out because nobody gives a shit unless they're naked. So they're fucking dumb. The whole point is that the matriarchy that we are creating in the West is no longer going to be competitive in the long run. We are not going to be competitive. And I'm not going to say what the competition is, but whatever the competition is, if men retain control, we are going to fucking lose. The world is cyclical. I live in Eastern Europe now, right? Eastern Europe, 20, 30 years ago, shithole. Now is the best place on the planet. California, 20, 30 years ago, best place on the planet. Now, shithole. It just takes a long time for reputations to catch up.
Yeah.
People are talking about California because they think it's like the 90s. Yeah, Baywatch, cool. That's gone.
That's gone.
It's crack watch. Homeless watch.
Yeah.
That's all they got over there now.
Tax
So
watch.
yeah, so as the world catches up and as things change, any society that retains its patriarchal roots is going to outcompete the West. I really do think that the Western world, along with America, is fucking finished. And I think if you have half a brain as a man here in the Western world, you need to get some money,